Hey, peace, family, peace. Welcome to the Ken Patterson Show, guys. Thank y'all for joining me. Thank you for being here. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your presence, and I appreciate your energy, man. Today, we're going to get into the hot topics in the media. We're going to be talking about the murder of Cyrus Belton, 14-year-old child shot in the back by an Asian store owner in South Carolina. We're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about a story a little bit closer to home, and the conviction of Carmelo Anthony. So y'all stay tuned, sit tight, we'll be right back. I appreciate y'all. All right, peace, family. Welcome back, man. I appreciate y'all. Like I said, man, we're going to talk about the murder of Cyrus Belton, and we're going to talk about the Carmelo Anthony case and just some of the stuff that we've been hearing online and from some influencers and that kind of stuff, man, because, some of the stuff I've heard has been outrageous. I mean, from both sides, from black people and from white people or Asian people. And when you read these comments and you see these comments, you can definitely see what the problem is in America today, right? We can see why this country is so divided. We can see that racism is still very much alive and well in this country. It's crazy to even be saying that in 2026, right? And people will say, well, no, black people have come so far in this country, but when you look at the state and the condition of the black community as a whole, right? The majority of our communities are in plight, and I think that's what we would see on television, and that's probably what the rest of the world believes about black people, and that's what they think about black people. But I really don't think they have any idea of what black people are. They don't know black people. They don't care to know black people. They don't try to know black people. And I've heard a couple of young influencers say that, they come into our communities and they set up shop and they're there for years and they never give anything back to the communities. That's just a true statement. That's just, you don't even see any Asian store owners coming out and saying, hey, no, man, I've been in this black community here forever and I give back. And, we have backpack giveaways, we have school supply giveaways, we do all kinds of stuff in the community that is actually, providing an income and a livelihood to our families, right? So, when I hear young guys saying that, it's really a breath of fresh air because, it's just a sign to me that, the people are really starting to wake up to what is going on in our communities. And I think that it's reinforcing the thought that black people really need to start building their own, right? Like we've done it in the past and we saw what happened to those communities. And I think those communities and what happened to those communities are supposed to be examples of what happens to black people when they try to build something in this country, right? They want us to be afraid, right? To even try to think about that. So I just want to say that, we as black people now should definitely be building for ourselves more than ever now, right? This country is falling apart. It's coming undone at the seams. It's coming off the hinges, right? The train is coming off the tracks. And, it's funny to me that, white people in general think that, this is such a great country. This is the greatest country ever created. And, they believe that. And when you think about the history of this country and how this country was built and everything that it took from the people that were here before Europeans came on the planet, right? black people were here. We've always been here. There was a time when white people weren't here, when Caucasian Europeans weren't here. I don't know that there's ever been a time that black people didn't exist on this planet, right? We're as much a part of this planet as the trees growing outside, and I think everybody knows that except for us, right? When it comes to our history and who we really are, everybody knows but us. And I think now we're starting to remember who we are, and they understand that we're starting to remember who we are. They understand that the DNA is starting to awaken again, and we are starting to remember who we are, and we should be taking our rightful place in this world, right? We taught this world everything that it knows, no matter what people try to say, no matter what some of the pundits might, teachers and educators act like white people gave the world everything. White people gave the world civilization, but that is the biggest lie ever, perpetrated on the people. That's the biggest lie ever told. Nobody, no race of people has killed and destroyed like the white race. Let's just be honest about that. They talk about black on black crime, and that is an issue. That's an issue. We should not be killing each other at the rate that we kill one another. But when you talk about that kind of thing, you have to also keep in mind that white people kill white people more than any other race kills white people. Asian people kill Asian people more than any other race kills Asian people, and so on and so forth, right? So when you talk about black on black crime, that's a small portion of the black race as a whole. Here in America, that's a small portion of people who are out here in gang violence and doing just all kinds of wrong shit, right? So we have to keep all that stuff in mind when we're talking about that. But as a mass murderer throughout the world, everywhere that Europeans have touched down, that's what they've done. They've raped, they've maimed, they've stolen, and they've killed. So that can't be disputed, right? There's no refuting that. The numbers speak for themselves. All the wars that you people have created throughout the world, just to gain more power and gain more wealth. It's sickening when you think about it. It really is sickening. But and they want black people to feel like we're not supposed to be asking for anything. We're not supposed to be asking for reparations. We're not supposed to expect anything. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, right? And you've started 400 years behind the finish line, behind the starting line, right? You're 400 years behind the starting line. So, I don't want to hear that shit about, we shouldn't be giving reparations. We actually, our ancestors built this country. Our ancestors built this country with free labor, guys. White people stole inventions, white people stole discoveries, all, just the knowledge, that they took out of black people and extracted from black people, the things that black people were already doing here when white people got here. And so, when we talk about the history of this country and these two cases in particular, we have to remember the history of this country, right? We have to remember the history of this country. And not only that, guys, we have to keep our heads about ourselves, right? We can't go out here wilding out and acting a fool and, committing violent acts against people because this is exactly what they want, guys. They want a reason and an excuse to lock us up or kill us. That's what they're looking for. I did a show a while back called the King Alfred Plan that kind of talks about what the government plan is really for black people and brown people in the end, right? So, we just have to be mindful of the history that we're talking about, the people that we're talking about, and when I, like I said earlier, when I read the comments under these stories and under some of these influencers and stuff, it's disgusting, right? It's absolutely disgusting to hear people, talking about black fatigue and this kind of shit. Well, guess what, man? We have not only we not only have white fatigue, we have Asian fatigue, we have Indian fatigue, we have Arab fatigue, because all of these people come into our communities and extract and never give anything back, never put anything back. So fuck your fatigue, really. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck about your fatigue, because your fatigue is fucking created by you. The fatigue that you see and the black community that you see, it was created by you. You guys created these people. You guys created this black person in America today. You understand? Joey Badass has a song where he says, "Hey, look at what they made me." And Joey Badass is absolutely right. You motherfuckers made this. This is what you wanted. This is how you wanted us to treat one another. You've always programmed hate and self-hate in us. You've always wanted us to go against one another. Because when we look in the mirror, all they had to do is convince us to hate ourselves. And if we can look in the mirror and hate ourselves, then it's very easy to look at our brother and our sister and hate them as well. So we've been programmed, guys. We've been programmed. And now it's time to break the programming. And I think the programming now is being broken, because I'm so happy, man, to see these young cats coming on. And these cats, man, they're intelligent. They have a lot to say, and they have a lot of good stuff to say, man. And I appreciate these young dudes coming out here, man, because that's who it's going to be up to, is the guys coming up behind us. We've been here. We've been here, and we lived through the programming. We lived through the matrix, but this next generation, guys, has got the matrix figured out. They've broken the code, man. They've broken the code. And again, man, it makes my heart warm. It fills my heart. It gives me hope when I see these young guys out here doing that stuff, man. When I see them out here saying the good things that they're saying, and then you have some ignorant motherfuckers out here too who are saying things that are absolutely stupid to me. You know what I mean? Charleston White, for instance. Sometimes, I agree with some of the stuff that he says, man, but then sometimes I think some of the stuff he says is absolutely ignorant. And especially when he says, that this kid, Carmelo Anthony, should have killed both of the white guys, both of the kids. Man, we have to remember, these are children. These are children, and a child lost his life. Two children lost their lives, actually, because Carmelo Anthony's life will never be the same. He's 19 years old, on his way to prison for at least 17 years, sentenced to 35 years for what some are saying was self-defense, and some are saying he provoked the kid, but everybody's saying that, Carmelo should have just, gotten his stuff and got out of there and blah, blah, blah. But nobody's saying, hey, man, where was the act of kindness? Where it was raining out, why couldn't you guys why couldn't they say, hey, man, just come on under for a little bit? It's raining, as soon as it's done raining, no problem, man. Why did they feel compelled to come over and bother Carmelo Anthony when, it was reported that he was invited over initially? That was how it was reported initially, but then the kid who Carmelo said he was there to see, eventually, I think, said that he didn't know Carmelo and he didn't invite Carmelo over there. So, we have, of course, conflicting stories. There was a kid that said, who was believed to be recording, but he said that he wasn't actually recording. He was just acting like he was recording. Police said that they took his phone, they wiped his phone and all this stuff and didn't see any evidence of him recording that, So without being a special investigator or a private investigator and being able to obtain these kind of records for yourself, we have to take the word of the police. And, I'm not saying that they're lying, that that's not true, but I think that all of this stuff has a spin to it, guys. The media, the way the media would try to spin it, like they want it to be a race factor, right? These were children. These are kids, that were at a track meet. And what my issue was with this case is that they charged him with murder. And murder has to be some kind of premeditation, some kind of intent. And I don't believe that they proved any kind of premeditation. I mean, I think if anything, there should have been an option for the jury to at least give this child manslaughter. And that's because somebody did lose their life, guys. Somebody died. A child died. No matter what we think about it, no matter how we feel about it, at the end of the day, this was two children, man. And I just think it could have been handled a whole lot differently, from the perspective that, what about just, welcoming in your neighbor, right? He's here for a track meet too. That it's raining out here, storms are coming in, and he's trying to just take some shelter. And not only that, he said that he was invited. And the guy who said that he invited him, that Carmelo said, invited him over there, said, "Hey, I don't know him. I didn't invite him." And mind you, they've had a lot of time to think about this stuff and put together stories. And these people weren't sequestered from one another. It's a lot of stuff, right? But, again, I don't think that anybody should have lost their life, especially not both of the brothers so when people out here saying that kind of shit, man, don't listen to that, man. Don't listen to that, because, killing somebody is wrong. And, again, Charleston White, for instance, saying he can't wait for the war to come so we can draw the line, and we'll know who's with the blacks and who's not, bruh. We don't need a war. We don't need a war where people are dying and losing their lives. That's not what we need, because guess what? They fight wars all the fucking time, and it has never fixed anything. It has never fixed anything. These people fight wars all of the time, and it has never fixed one thing. Not one thing. It's sad that we think that violence is the end all be all, when nothing has changed through violence ever. They still fighting wars. They bombing the shit out of Iran, but Iran's like, I'm not budging. We're not moving. We're not opening up no strait. Y'all gonna tell that little country over there, however 9 million people, to cool the shit out, man. Cool out. Or y'all, we'll starve the world. We won't let no oil through this motherfucker. And we still talking this shit about we gonna do this. We bully, but they called the bully to the table now. They called the bully to the square. Nigga, put up or shut up. So I don't agree with the a verdict. I don't agree with the sentencing of murder. I know what this feels like on a very personal level, right? I know what this feels like on a very personal level, and I don't agree with murder here. Somebody lost their life for sure, and somebody should be accountable for that, man. Like, we're at a track meet, right? And I think they said that the knife that he had was not really like a knife. It was like one of these little utility things, right? This guy is much bigger than him. This guy is pretty much, in my mind, bullying him and trying to use his size to make him get out, right? And I hear people saying, oh, yeah, that culture, like this is track teams or whatever, but these children know each other from these different schools or whatever. And I've been at track meets and I've been at sporting events where the other teams are under tense and there's no problem. All this shit about that's the culture at the track meets and all that kind of shit, that's a lie, because these are kids, man. These are kids, and kids are always, out of here, man. And kids are always roaming from tent to tent, messing around, playing around. What was wrong? What's wrong with a community type culture, man? What was wrong with that in this situation? What was wrong with that right here? This damn fly is about to piss me off right here in the middle of the show. But anyway, what I'm saying? Like, what was wrong with that? What was wrong with just showing a little community right there? With being on the side of kindness. What was wrong with that? You know what I mean? Like, it didn't have to escalate to what it did. It's a shame. It's an awful, pitiful shame that 2 children lost their lives in this event when they were there for a track meet. It should have never happened. It should have never happened, right? It should have never happened. But what I'm saying to our community, we got to come together, man. We can pull this shit off without firing a single shot, without taking a single life, if we just get together and pool our resources together. $2 trillion a year, guys, that we spend here. $2 trillion a year. That's the GDP of some small countries, guys. You understand? $2 trillion that we actually spend in physical fucking dollars here every year. Well, we can do something with that, man. We can do something with that. 2 trillion, 45 million black people here. We can make it. We can make it, man. Like, we've done it before. We've done it before. And again, like I said, those communities were destroyed, bombed, burned down. People were killed because that is their only tactic. That's their best tactic, fear. Because they know a person living in fear can't live a full life. You can't be afraid, man. You can't be afraid to say what it is you want to say. You can't be afraid to do what it is you want to do. As a people, we can't be afraid anymore. Like, we got to pull out of this shit, man. And I think everybody should pull out of this shit. Not just black people, everybody, but especially black people. We have to do better together. Black folk, we got to do better together. We have to do better together. We have to be like everybody else. We got to be like the Asians. We got to be like the Hispanics. We got to be like the white folk. We got to be like the Indians. We got to be like the Arabs. We have to be selfish in that way too. Because like I said, all those races come into our communities. They open up their businesses and their stores and we support these stores. We support these businesses. We give these people income. We give these people livelihoods. And they don't give us anything back in our communities. We have to we have to be the stores in our communities. And besides that shit, they don't sell anything worth of shit in these stores. They sell sugar, salt, and carbohydrates in these motherfuckers. That's all they sell. Cigars, cigarettes, rolling papers. That's all the fuck they sell in these stores. And we are the ones who give this business to these stores, right, man? Like, there's no real overhead for these motherfuckers, really. They buying the supplies in there, but the shit that they're buying, they getting it very cheap. and selling it back to you at fucking 10 times the cost of what they paying for a bag of that shit. At least double the cost, brother. At least double the cost. You understand? At least double the cost. That's the way the map works, right? You're paying at least double what they pay for it. And we're in their stores. We're in their nail salons. We're in their beauty supply houses. When we can do that shit ourselves, man, that's not no tough business to open. We don't have to support anything that's not supporting us. We can support ourselves. We can support ourselves, guys. That's period. We can support ourselves. If we just understand that we have to pull it all together, we have to pull it all together. And that's hard, right? Because you have black people who are well-to-do, right? And they want to hold on to that. They don't want to separate from this system because this system has given them everything that they have, right? And they're owned by this system too, as well. They're owned by the system. They're owned by the people that have given them the things that they have. And we don't want to make it sound like these people didn't work for some of the stuff that they have. But a lot of these people, man, have gotten their wealth through nefarious acts. To say the least, bruh. To say the least. A lot of people have sold their soul to have the things that they have. You know what I'm saying? Yo, we're going to take a quick break, y'all. We'll be right back after this, man. I appreciate y'all. Hold on tight. Peace. All right. Welcome back, family. I appreciate y'all. That little ad was Pop-Up Podcast Mobile Studio Services, man. Anybody out there interested in taking their podcast to the next level as far as your lights and sound and camera is concerned, Pop-Up Podcast Mobile Studio Services can help you do that. And if you're interested in that kind of service, man, please email me at kenpattersonshow@gmail.com. That's kenpattersonshow@gmail.com. Pretty soon, I'm going to do a tutorial so you guys can see the different features that the business will offer, that the mobile studio service will offer. That's going to be coming soon, and I'll post that as soon as I get it done. I appreciate all the support, man, and if you're liking what you're hearing or what you're seeing so far, please hit that like, follow, and subscribe button. We would greatly appreciate it. That would help our show out greatly. So here we are, man. We're back, and we're going to continue on with the Carmelo Anthony verdict. And again, I just want to say that I think that whole situation was totally unfortunate. I think it was totally uncalled for. I think it went too far on both sides. I don't think. At the same time that this guy was over here asking him to move and kind of, from what some witnesses say, they were bullying him, and there was more than one person who approached him, and they kind of had him cornered, is what I think, maybe Carmelo's version was. And then some witnesses who were not called to testify, kind of rendered that same version. Now, Carmelo's attorney, was a white man, and there was an all-white jury. And really, when this first happened, my wife and I saw this story on the news, and we were both saying, this is Collin County. They're going to hang this baby. We kind of felt like that from the beginning before they were ever going to have any kind of trial date. The day that we heard this on the news, we were like, oh man, this is going to be bad for him. Right. And nobody really knew what the details were at that time. But then as the story started to trickle out or whatever, people started to form their own opinions, right? Like we do. We form our opinions based on what we're hearing, right? So we started kind of hearing this self-defense defense, right? We started hearing that that he was saying that this was self-defense, that he was approached and he was pushed. Now, all of the witnesses seemed to say, oh, it was a light push. He didn't really push him that hard. But I don't believe that shit. I don't believe that at all. I don't believe that these, 6'2", 200-pound football players went over there and lightly pushed him, especially in light of the fact that they had backup, right? So, I mean, that's neither here nor there. I wasn't here. But in my opinion, I don't believe that. I don't believe that shit. Now, did anything that at any point warrant killing anybody? I don't think so. I don't think so, and I'll never think so, right? I don't care what black people say, white people say. In my own mind, I don't think anybody should have lost their life that day. It's crazy when you think about it. 2 kids, man, 2 babies, 2 children. And, it a whole lot of backstory to this, man, a whole lot of stuff that has been said. And I don't want to repeat it because I don't know the stuff to be factual about the child who was unalived, the child that was killed. I don't know if all that stuff that's being said about him and, situations between him and his father and just situations with other students. So we're not going to drag anybody's name through the mud without us actually knowing the truth about what that is, right? So what we do know is that Carmelo Anthony was convicted of murder. And I don't feel like that was a murder. When you talk about all of the legal circumstances that have to be involved in a murder, I don't think that Carmelo Anthony committed murder on that day. So anyway, that's my spiel on that, man. We're going to move on. I'm going to talk about this Cyrus Belton case, man. Now, this one hit real different, guys. This was a 14-year-old child who was gunned down, shot in the back. Even if the police shoot somebody running away, they're gonna be in trouble. This was a 14-year-old child who went into a convenience store, an Asian store owner. On closed circuit television, you can see the child go in, and he goes into a cooler, and he picks up what was later said to be water. He grabbed some waters in there, and he never took the water and concealed it or tried to put it in a bag or in his jacket or nothing like that. He took the water out, and maybe he was thinking about, maybe, we don't know, because he didn't take it. He put it back. And he proceeded to leave the store. Now, this Asian family now, they leave the whole store. Everybody, the whole family, leaves out of the store to confront this 14-year-old child. Okay, and so I don't want you to get it twisted at all. This was a child. This was a 14-year-old baby. 14-year-old black baby. And this Asian family followed him out of the store in pursuit. Even after they saw, and maybe they didn't see at the time, right? I don't know if they saw that he had put it back at the time, or if they thought he went back there, he opened the cooler and he had it concealed on his way out. I don't know what they thought, but they left their whole store. They left their whole store. People in the store, right? They left the whole store for what they thought was a bottle of water. Chased this child down, shot him in the back, killed him. Later, it's found out that the child had a gun. But witnesses there said the child never pointed a gun at them. He never turned around to confront them. This child was running away. And these people decided to shoot him in the back and kill him. And a jury in South Carolina decided that this man was justified in doing that to a 14-year-old child. Never mind black, but we can't never mind black, because it was a 14-year-old black baby. And this is a problem, because they look at our children as menaces, right? They look at our children as criminal. They don't see our children as children. So he felt justified in shooting and killing this child because they don't value our lives. Nobody values our lives. And I don't want to start Black Lives Matter shit. Fuck Black Lives Matter. I don't give a shit about that organization. Never have, never will. Because they didn't do shit for black people, but take another organization created by those people to extract from our people. Okay? So I'm not no advocate for that shit, because we know our lives matter. If we don't know, who knows? Why do we have to announce that shit or have an organization that says so? Don't you know your life matters? But, this society continually sends a message to us that our lives don't matter. And we keep letting them kill our babies. And we keep going right back to their stores and right back to their businesses. And they keep doing exactly what it is that they do. See, it never changes because the playbook works, right? As long as the playbook works, why change the plays? Right? So as long as we continue to just roll over and watch this kind of shit happen without taking any kind of action for ourselves. And I'm not advocating for any kind of violence. I'm talking about building as a people. I'm talking about building as a community. I'm talking about separation from this shit. How long do we continue to let what we know to be the most disgusting, most evil people among us lead us around, lead the world? I'm talking to the whole world. How long do we let the most evil among us continue to rule the world without us saying, man, this is enough? Because as long as we participate, they'll be fine. When we all decide that we're not going to participate anymore, The collective has to decide that, man. It can't be a few people here, a few people there. It has to be a mass movement. You understand? They can't make it without us, man. They need us more than we need them. They need us more than we need them. Period. This planet can't survive without beautiful blackness. It can't. This country would be the most fucking boring place on the planet if black people didn't exist here. We give this country its color. We give this country its soul. We give this country its spirit, its rhythm. Black people. And this is why we are the most hated everywhere that we go. Everywhere that we go. Because they can see it in us. They see who we are. We don't see. But everybody else sees who we are. When you go to these foreign countries and you travel in these places, the people see you and they're amazed. They're amazed at you. And you think, oh, shit, I'm just a regular Joe, man. Man, you're God. And that's why they hate you. Because they are the fucking devil. They came here for this purpose, man. They came to do and be exactly what they are. So don't blame them for doing exactly what it is they came here to do. What we do is build for ourselves and separate and let them have that shit, right? That's what we do. We don't let them come here and continue to mistreat and misuse us, the planet. Everywhere they go, they cause chaos. They destroy nature. They destroy the most beautiful things on the planet in the name of progress and industrialization. Everywhere that they've touched down, they've caused chaos and pain and destruction. And you can't refute that. Nobody can refute that. That's what the European has done. That's what the European has done everywhere that they've touched down. That's what the Caucasian has done. Those Caucasians hungry for power. Those Caucasians who run the world. So I don't give a fuck about your black fatigue. Fuck your black fatigue. And if you fatigued by black people, fuck you, man, for real. Because we have the most fatigue. If anybody ought to be fucking talking about fatigue, shit. I just hope that as a people, man, we can come together. I hope that this stuff, now in this day and age, in a time of our awakening, in a time of our DNA coming back online, I hope that these situations have shown us something, and that they have taught us something about ourselves, right? Like it's time for another Black Wall Street, bigger than, that Wall Street. We're bigger than that now. We're 40, 45, I don't know what it is, but I know last time I checked, it was 40 million black people in this country. And there's a lot more people of color in this country than that, for sure. But what we classify as black, we're the most talented of the people here. We are the most creative. We're the shit, man. Black people are the shit. Point blank, period. Black people are the shit. That's the only way to put it, you know? And I wish we knew it as a whole. And I think we're learning it. I think we're remembering that we are the shit, man. Like, nothing really happens on this planet without our say so. Really. Really. Literally, nothing happens on this planet without our say so. If we didn't give in to this shit and let it happen to us, it wouldn't have happened. So, with that being said, black man, stand up, man, and get the monopoly board off your back. You know, my message is to the people, really, you know, power to the people. All power to the people. And I love black people. I love my race. I love my people. And I want to see us rise. And I think that if we just come together and get out of this shit, we'll see the change like quicker than we think. Quicker than we think. We just have to get together, man. Like it's more than physical. This is a divine calling for black people, man. And if we get ourselves together and pull ourselves together, then we'll see a divine change. I think it's as simple as that. Even though we make it harder, you know, easier said than done. We make it so hard, and it doesn't have to be that hard. Beautiful black people, man, rise up, rise up. Be who you are. Be who you are, man. We can change this shit without firing a single bullet, without any violence. If we just come to peace with each other and learn to support and do for one another. We need a little Africa or a little Cherokee, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because we were here before they came. We didn't all come over here on slave ships. In fact, we don't know where the slave ships are. So, again, somebody point one out to me, you know, for real, like that you can authenticate. I don't believe they sell these wooden boats across the violent Atlantic. I don't. So, anyway, yeah, we just got to learn to love one another, man. We have to learn to love one another. We have to come together as a people. Get off the hamster wheel. Start growing your own food. Stop eating this poison food out of their grocery stores. I know it's tough. I know that's hard. Because we've become complacent and lazy, period. But it's easy to grow your own food. You know, it does take some work. Yeah, it takes some work and some discipline. But we should all be doing it. We should all be growing our own food while we can. You know, and we should make sure it should never be a time or no threat of us not being able to do so. That's bullshit. So let's get ourselves together, man. Let's get ourselves together. Yeah, let's get ourselves together. And yeah, we should be paid reparations, man. We should be paid reparations. This is, you know, that's a given, you know, when you think about the people that they pay reparations to. But not us. No, nigga. We brought you here to do what you do. We conquered you, so we made you do what you do. We don't, you know, anybody else that they killed in mass and shit, they gave them checks. So, and we didn't have anything to do with the Holocaust, and we still send these people checks. So if anybody deserves a reparation or repayment, it's black people, man. Shit. Let's just be real about that shit. Let's just be real. And I didn't always feel this way. I promise. I didn't always feel this way. But I didn't think of myself as no kind of sellout or no shit like that. I just felt like I was a person who worked hard, man, to try to get the shit that I have. You know, so, but rethinking and learning more changed my mind. We're definitely owed reparations, man, without a doubt, without question. And even an apology for slavery would be good. We can't even get that. We can't even get that. We can't get an apology for the genocide, for all the millions of lives that were lost and taken in the slave trade and Jim Crow and all of those things, right? So yeah. The hangings, the lynchings, the burnings, the shootings. Yeah, man, just the most horrible things you can think of have been done to black people here by white people. So, yeah. Guys, I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate everybody watching. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your presence, and I appreciate your energy, man. If you did like this, if you got anything from it, please hit that like, follow, subscribe button. I appreciate you. And this is the Ken Patterson Show, man. We'll see you back here next time, hopefully sooner than later, all right? Peace, family.